Hey guys, my name is Elise and this is my YouTube channel, The Crunchy Ginger. Every week I try to share a tip or a trick or a DIY to help you live a little greener and save a little money. And this week I'm going to be sharing a easy DIY recipe for you. These DIY recipes are a great way to save money because if you are anything like me and you've got a thing for chapstick or lip balm, you know that buying good quality, all natural, non-toxic ones at the store can really add up. This one is an Earl Grey lip balm. So this summer I was kind of on an Earl Grey tea kick and I thought it would be so amazing because I can't actually drink my cup of tea while it's hot because I have two small children to have like the essence of the Earl Grey anytime I want. So if you've never had Earl Grey tea, it's basically a black tea that's got bergamot oil or bergamot peels in it. And we can replicate that by using a bergamot essential oil. Now, the thing to remember about choosing an oil, and I'm not a brand purist, I do think that you should get a good high quality brand that doesn't have impurities. And if you don't, it kind of defeats the purpose of making all this stuff yourself and like cutting out all the sort of toxic ingredients that can come in store-bought stuff. But what you do want is to make sure that your bergamot oil is not going to be phototoxic. Some essential oils, citrus oils specifically, can be phototoxic, which means that they react with your skin and the sun. They can cause burns basically, and that's definitely not something you want in a lip balm. You can often buy bergamot oil Bergaptene-Free. It'll say it right there on the label. That means that the phototoxic component has been distilled out of this oil, which makes it safe for skin applications. So like in lip balms or in a lotion or a balm or a body butter, something like that. So just make sure that yours says Bergaptene-Free and you will be good to go. The other ingredients in this lip balm are really pretty simple. I'm going to be using coconut oil. I like to get this big old mama tub. This is just the kind that you get at the grocery store. I get the organic virgin coconut oil. You're going to need some beeswax, and I usually buy mine in these little pellets, really because it's easier to measure and deal with, but you could also get it in the bar and shave it off. And you're also going to need some kind of carrier oil, a liquid carrier oil. I'm going to use sunflower oil because I think it's really moisturizing for lips, but you could use olive oil or jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, apricot oil. Any of these kinds of carrier oils would be great in this lip balm recipe. Other than that, I'm going to add just a tiny drop of vitamin E oil. This is optional, but vitamin E is an antioxidant, which means it can kind of prolong the shelf life of your DIY beauty products a little bit. And so I like to throw it in there just for some added moisture and reassurance. That being said, this is a recipe that has all oils in it, which means you're going to have a good long shelf life anyway. People often ask me, what is the expected shelf life? And the best way to find out is to look at your ingredients that you're using and see which one has the expiration date that is the soonest. That's going to be your expected shelf life of your product. The other things you're going to need for this are some kind of double boiler situation. I have got a little saucepan here. It's got a couple inches of water. I've already got it simmering, and I have a heat-proof bowl. I like to use this little metal bowl that I just kind of reserve for my DIY recipes, but you could use a glass bowl would be okay too. Just something that's going to sit on top of your pot of simmering water. Something to stir it with. Got my little spatula here. And something to put your lip balm in. This one is made to go in a chapstick tube, so it's going to be firm enough that it's not going to melt in your pocket if you put the tube in there. But if you don't have one of these, you don't feel like messing with this, you can just use a lip balm pot or a tin, or I often like to reuse ones from lip balms I've got at the store. You just clean them out and you can reuse them so many times. It's a great way to kind of upcycle and eliminate some waste. So let me just get started showing you how to do this. This recipe is going to make 2 lip balm tubes. It makes it really easy for you to scale it up if you're making a whole bunch of these to stock up or like for a gift. And if you want some ideas about other DIY gift recipes, I've got a bunch, and I will put a link up above and also at the end for you so that you can check those out. I'm going to put my beeswax in first. Now I've got mine already measured out here. I am using about 4 grams of beeswax. That's approximately a teaspoon. I usually like to measure mine by weight. I have just this little inexpensive scale. I just think it's easier than messing with the teaspoons and the tablespoons. Some of these butters and oils get really sticky and are hard to measure, but if you don't have that, I've put the approximate conversions for you, and I'll put it in the description box below so you don't have to try to remember all this. So I'll put that in first. It takes a little bit longer to melt. Next, I'm going to add my coconut oil, and I am using 9 grams of coconut oil, which is approximately 1.5 teaspoons if you're measuring that way. And lastly, I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon or about 1.5 grams of my liquid oil. In this case, I'm using organic sunflower oil. And we'll just give this a second to kind of all melt together. Okay, there we go. It does not take very long at all. And then you'll want to remove it from the heat. I like to have a dish towel ready because you've got this condensation on the bottom here from the steam or whatever, and you want to wipe that off so that you're not accidentally introducing any water into your mixture. From this point, we're going to let this cool off for just 1 second, not too long. We don't want it to start getting hard, but just enough that it's not at its hottest when we're adding our vitamin E oil and the bergamot oil. So just, I don't really measure this, just a couple of little drops of the vitamin E. And for this size recipe, I'm going to use 3 to 6 drops of this bergamot. It's going to give you a 1 to 2% dilution. It's really kind of up to you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go with 4. And we're going to give this a quick stir. You're going to want to be ready with your containers because sometimes this has a tendency to start solidifying really quickly. So I've got my little guys right there. And here's a tip. If you want to keep your heat on, that's a good idea, because if this does start to solidify on you, you can just pop it right back. See, mine's already kind of going, so I'm going to actually do that real fast. Okay, there we go. Just remember to wipe it off again if you did have to stick it back on your heat. And I'm going very carefully pour it into my containers, hopefully without spilling it all over my counter. There's number 1 and number 2. Success! Sometimes I like to have an extra container ready just in case I end up with a few more drops than I anticipated. But that is all you need to do. So you just let this hang out on your counter for a few minutes till it starts to get a little solid. If you want, you can then pop it in your fridge if you're impatient. Otherwise, just leave it on the counter for a little while and it solidifies really nicely into a lovely, wonderful, spicy, fall-inspired Earl Grey lip balm. It goes on so smooth, really simple. You can see that it's fall. I just want to give a shout out to my 5 and my 2-year-old for these lovely set decorations. Thank you so much, boys. And I hope everybody enjoys this recipe. If you do, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you are into this kind of thing. I've got some more lip balm recipes coming up really soon, so you'll want to make sure that you catch that. And if you want more information about this recipe, you can check out the blog post at thecrunchyginger.com. I'm also on Instagram, so you can hit me up there. Thank you so much for watching. Happy fall, everybody.